Hello, fellow sim racers. Thanks for joining me on yet another hot, sunny South Florida day where the weather never matters because none of us go outside and we just sit inside and do this stuff all day. This week we are going to be doing the GT7 daily race series, starting off with race A and then moving into race B. In this race A, I managed to get a few laps in qualifying in before the race started, landing myself in pole position somehow with a 110.2. I was not expecting that. I know it is early on in the week at this point, so there are going to be a lot more times posted, but not that disappointed. We'll see if I can hang on to the pole throughout the first race, hope for a little bit of action, a little bit of activity, and not too much boredom, but we'll see what we can put together here. So, getting started, there are a few names in this lobby that I recognize that I've clashed with in the past. Not very proud of that, but we're going to see if we can all get along and be friends here. I've grown to love the whole false start process off the start line here. It just keeps everybody on their toes, and sometimes you catch somebody that just doesn't seem to be paying attention, and the next thing you know, they're kind of out of the mix. But I get off to a good start here. Thankfully, nobody had a better reaction time than I did, but it gets a little tight coming in. But one thing I have to say is when you are racing in the Sportsmanship S class, it's just that much cleaner. And I mean, we all know that. I mean, it's not like it's news to anybody, but man, is that more appreciative. You don't need to worry nearly as much about getting punted into the first turn. You do, however, need to worry about not being able to go around turn 2 at Tsukuba properly in a Mazda with comfort softs on. Anyways, moving on, we do manage to get a little bit out ahead here, which is exactly what I was hoping for on the first lap. Obviously, everybody just wants to try to separate themselves a little bit more from the pack and see if they can pull away here and let everybody else battle it out behind them. But with a little bit of luck and not a whole lot of skill, I managed to do exactly that and get myself out to a 1 second lead going down the back straight before the treacherous final turn of Tsukuba that I've somehow, after driving it for who knows how many years, never been able to master, regardless of the car, regardless of the tires, regardless of the weather conditions. But we seem to make it around there all right. I do get caught up a little bit here coming back into the second lap, but nothing to really be too concerned about. But let's just try to get through turn 1 on lap 2 here, a little bit tidier than we did on the first lap. But with nobody right on your tail, it's a little bit easier, obviously. So no harm there. Do what I need to do here and try to build that gap between myself and second at the moment and see if we can just keep this as clean as possible and as worry-free as we can. This is usually one of the more enjoyable turns on this track, but for some reason in this car is just so sloppy feeling you can't go in with any confidence. But we make it through it unscathed once again, and we're going to take on this final hairpin of lap 2. Try to build that gap even a little further when we come down this back straight, get a good exit here. Not a whole lot of action is going to take place between now and the next few laps, so we'll finish lap 2 out here, fast forward to the start of lap 5 and see if we can get a little bit more activity going. So finishing up lap 2, going on to lap 3, but suddenly just fast forwarding to lap 5, and you can see that not a whole lot has changed, not at least in my positioning here. The gap is still somewhat the same. It's a little under a second. I've made a couple little mistakes. I've allowed for a few people to catch up to me, but the intention is to change that. But you can see that I am being targeted. I'm being followed, so I'm just going to try to keep it as tidy and clean as I can through each one of these hairpins, particularly through this next turn once again, because I know that it's just got my number at some point or another, and not too bad that time. That was all right. Just going to try to come in nice and quick and just, if I'm going to have to go defensive, I'm going to have to go defensive, but we'll just hope that it doesn't get down to that. So keeping it clean, and similarly, not a whole lot happening. Just going to fast forward it a little bit to the same back straight on lap 7, and just like that. Okay, now we're on lap 7. That looks good. The gap looks similar, but 1 lap left. Let's see how it plays out. Let's see if I can maintain this lead. Let's see if I can hold on to first place. Wouldn't be so mad at it. It's my first race of the daily series for this week. I know this one doesn't affect your DR or your SR. It's often these ones that I wish they did, because the other ones that seem to have those kind of effects always seem to go against my favor. But Nothing lost here so far. I am making mistakes going in through that first turn though, and I'm certainly allowing for this individual to catch back up to me and make this into a little bit more of a race on the final lap. So not the tightest job coming through turn 2 here, but coming into turn 3 with a little bit of apprehension, being pushed off my line a little bit from making my mistake earlier, and it's exactly what it does to me. I come into it a little too hot, I get off the track. I'm super lucky that I don't incur a penalty for that, but it does give Hayfleet 986 a chance to catch right up to me, so I have to be a little bit defensive going into the final hairpin here, keep it super tight and hope I get a decent exit, which it's not great, it's not bad, but it certainly was not as great as Hayfleet's, and they are closing the gap. So I have to make a decision pretty quick here. I think I'm going to try to take the defensive line and then slowly move him to the outside as he goes out there and just try to come in nice and tight for this final turn. And while I am hanging on to that inside, I am not sure exactly what happens behind me, but Hayfleet has a bit of a spin. It almost looks like he hits something and then spins out, and I'm able to take that checkered flag. Not a bad result for the first race of the week. So while we take our little victory lap and wait for a couple folks to catch up to the mythical finish line, we are going to move on to daily race B. And similar to A, I only had a chance to put in a couple of qualifying laps before diving into this race. This race was a little different. I did not have the fortune to start on the pole, but you know what? That's actually something that I prefer. I like having room to grow and not to just go and try to defend the whole time. But starting in 10th here, I didn't feel like it was that bad of a lap. A 154.4 obviously is nowhere near competitive when you look at the top rankings right now, but again, just a couple laps to give it a shot, and we're going to get going and see if we can actually gain a few positions. And while this one does affect your DR and SR, hope that it can have a positive impact. The goal for me, I love to say the goal is to get to an A+S, but I don't. I just feel like it's going to be so challenging. And a lot of the guys that I watch on here that are excellent sim racers, they all maintain that A+S at the top of it every time. And I don't know how they do it, but hats off to them. That's exactly what I'm trying to do here. I have gotten a lot better since I started playing this with a wheel and pedals a couple years back. In the midst of waiting for the Logitech Pro wheel to arrive literally today as we speak, so I can hardly contain myself. FedEx is apparently out for delivery, although it now says pending date and not an actual date. Anyways, enough about that. Doesn't matter. I'm pretty excited. Looking forward to slapping it on my rig and seeing what we can do. If it, I don't expect it's going to help my performance, but I do think it's going to make it that much better of an experience. So, anyways, here we go. Like I said, going to try to keep this one clean. I will, if it gets boring, jump ahead to further laps as I did in the last race, of course, too. But coming into turn 1, Watkins Glen, I actually really like this track. When they first added it, I was a little against it. I don't know why. It was just foreign, I guess. But anyways, clearly the Alpha is a lot faster acceleration at low speed, at least, than the GTR. But I managed to keep him behind me there for a sec. But he is being extremely aggressive, and I am just doing my best to stay in any sort of slip here and see if we can get down this back straight unscathed and keeping my position 10 as we started. For now, at least. Not eternally, because we do want to gain spots. Anyways, coming flying into the chicane, never totally sure where to brake, especially on the first lap, but we get through there all right. A little bit of bumps and bruises for a couple people, but nothing too bad. As we come into the next more elongated right turn, a couple more bumps on a few of the contenders here, but we're just looking for a door to open up. We've lost a couple spots right now, but as of now, we get a little bit more fortunate. Look at that. All right, so we're going to come down. Ooh, geez, another one. Well, not too mad at that. Up into position 9th here coming into this turn, and wow, geez, terribly. I don't know what I was thinking there, but no harm, no foul. Still maintaining that one position gain, and going to see if we can do any more damage here in the coming turns before the end of lap 1. But we come into this turn flying hot. This is a tricky turn, and Be Mellow or Bemello E63 having a little bit of a tough time and opening up a bit of a gap for me to get in there. But not just me, position 10, Dr. Longwiener, also trying to get up into this guy's business here. But it seems that it's going to be a 3 to 5 horse race coming into the end of lap 1 here, and this final turn, if you're not careful coming a little wide, you can just catch your rear tire and kick your back end out like that and just sacrifice another position for somebody to go by. Oh, that is Dr. Longwiener making his way by me. Interesting name. Anyways, lap 1, we're back to where we started, position 10. Not thrilled about it, but we're going to get the hang of this. Again, only had a couple laps before this race started, so I just don't feel totally comfortable with the track at this point. But regardless, we are maintaining at the minimum. The goal is to be gaining, though. So we are going to try to get in the stay in the slipstream of Dr. Longwiener. Should be a decent-sized slipstream, I would think. But we also have a new player in the game coming up right behind me in position 11. So back through the chicane here. Just taking that so unbelievably slow on the tail end of it. We're going to try to make up for it in this turn here. Not sure why I geared down into third, not like I needed it. Anyways, jumping ahead a little bit here. Bumelo suffering a bit of a penalty, so we are gaining back that position back up into 9th, where we were feeling so confident on lap 1, exactly in this spot. But the goal is not to finish in P9, the goal is to finish far above that. So let's follow Dr. Longwiener and see how much damage we can do. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have a tendency of slowing down way too much going into this turn. I don't know what it is. I feel like if I don't slow down as much as I do, then I'm just way over the driving limits. But anyways, terrible final turn to finish off the second lap. Not sure what I was thinking there, but Dr. Longwiener extended his lead over me. So let's just see if we can hold off Bumelo behind us here in the Alpha with the superior acceleration. And what am I thinking coming through that extremely wide? I'm going to give Bumelo some space here. Oh, apparently he wants more space than that. And then I'm going to hope he gives me some space on the inside here. But that wasn't too bad. That was pretty clean. So now I'm going to depend on the legs of the GTR to push me down the final straight into the chicane. We are going to be a flying after that exit of that last turn there, though. So let's just see what we can do. Just hang on for dear life. Let's, you know what? Not a whole lot happening here. Not a lot of distance closing. Let's fast forward to a similar spot on lap 4 where we tighten things up. There we go. So we have, there's been a couple position changes in front of me at this point, but we are still in 9th, and we are coming up to Jimmy K9. He is, well, he's going to leave the door open for me, so I'm just going to slide up the inside there nice and smooth and keep it as clean as I can. And we're going to come flying into this turn here where you're going to see a bit of a position swap in front of me, and we are going to end up right behind Bullwinkle. And not sure if you noticed, I sure did, that this is exactly who we started the race behind, who has a bumper sticker decal on his livery that says faster car, and Bullwinkle, as of now, I cannot tell you that you're wrong. Anyway, so we're going to try to keep it as clean as we can, going through the final part of lap 4 and then moving on to lap 5. Not the best way to take that turn, by the way. Anyway, so final lap here. I'm going to come in a little steeper than Bullwinkle, and a little bit of contact's made. It was not bad. I did not think that I was coming into there very aggressively, but apparently a little bit of contact, and I may have gained a bit of an advantage over that. Not really. I mean, I ended up getting the inside line, which would have been the advantage there, but we are both coming flying down this back straight. Same car. He has a slipstream over me, although for some reason he does seem to get out of it here. Maybe, I guess, hoping to have a later braking point into this chicane, but we're both flying into here. He's going to keep it nice and tight. I am not even trying to focus on getting up into 6th position right now. I am more concerned about maintaining my position in 7th, which, all in all, not terrible. A few places up from where we started. I can't be that mad about it, but let's just wait and see how this one finishes up. Gosh, I got to work on my abilities here, but anyways, coming through into the final turn of the race, and not the worst I've taken it, by far not the best I've taken it, so not a bad race all in all, finishing in P7, starting P10. Listen, thanks for coming along for the ride with me at least. I enjoyed this, I hope you guys did, and I will certainly be posting more videos in the future, so peace out, have a great day, thanks so much.